Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Freedom Adventure. I've got another progress report video that I'd love to show you guys, just kind of showing you a few things, actually quite a few things that we've managed to get accomplished since the last time I shot any content. Now, I want to say that was about a month ago, and I apologize. I've had my head down doing a lot of work, and it's real easy to forget to shoot video, but that's what tonight's about, is I just want to give you an idea of everything that we've done up to this point since the last video shot. We've gotten started on some cabinet work. Actually, the last time that I talked to you guys, we had done one cabinet above the kitchen. It looked great, and we decided to go ahead and build a couple of more for the ambulance before we start running wiring circuits and everything. And we did. And once I built a second cabinet, we loved the way that it looked so much that there was just no way we can keep that first cabinet set up in the ambulance. We ended up having to repurpose it for something different. We've done a 30 amp shore power on this to replace the original 15 amp shore power that Wheel Coach had installed on this thing to begin with. I guess it worked pretty good for its desired purpose back then, but for a campsite, a 15 amps just not going to work. 30 and 50 are the most popular, so we opted to go with the 30, as it is definitely the most popular. We have installed a camera system in this thing, like a dash cam setup, to where my rear view mirror now is actually well, it can be a four-way camera split or three-way, two-way, just however you want to program it. When you're doing a lane change, it gives you a lot more confidence in terms of what's on the side of you, so you don't end up hearing a horn when you start doing a lane change. Now, the biggest thing that we've done here is actually the bathroom. And that is a project that I've been kind of putting off on this thing, to be honest with you, because I knew it was going to be a bear. And since there's really no instructions on how to do this, a lot of it, frankly, was just staring at the opening with a tape measure and just several hours of contemplating in terms of how I'm going to do this. So before we go any further, if this is content that you're enjoying watching, uh, if you're loving the idea of an old ambulance becoming a recreational vehicle, like and subscribe to follow me a little bit more. We've got more videos coming. It'll help us out, and we sure appreciate it. Come on, let's go check things out. So to start things off, this is our shore power setup that we've got here, which again is rated at 30 amps. The plug kind of screws in. It's watertight, very snug to the ambulance. Looking to the right here, you can see the original setup, which is the 15 amp shore power, which is essentially just a 110 plug going to the wall. And again, it worked good back in its day, but right now we have upgraded. Let me show you what's inside the cabinet here. It's the very humble beginnings of the solar setup. So behind this wall, there are two 24-volt batteries running parallel, and they bring power to those two bus bars, jumps up to a 12-volt converter, goes up to the fuse box, which in this case we've got about 3 different circuits, I believe, plugged into it right now. Those include the fan, also the lights on the inside, and of course the outside scene lights as well. Now I'm going to attempt to get up in here and show you basically where the shore power goes to, the 4-way plug setup. Okay, so there's the 4-way plug setup, and in this case I've got 2 battery chargers coming off of that. Now one is the Redodo charger that goes to the solar batteries, so when we're plugged into shore power, those batteries will be charging. And the other one's running down here to a little trickle charger, and that is barely a charger at a 3 amp charge, but that's keeping our house batteries alive while this conversion's going on. Now, eventually, since we've got 30 amps of power coming in and those are only 20 amp plug-ins, we're going to bypass that and go straight over to the inverter. At this point, however, it is doing its function. Now, something else to be said here about this Redodo charger. It is a 20 amp charger, and when I bought these batteries, I want to say it was last October. Now, they've done nothing more than sit around and steadily lose charge since that day I purchased them. And I will say that this charger did act as promised and charged both of those batteries up to 100% in, I'm going to say, about 5 hours total. Only drawback is it does blow air. It's got a little fan in it. It does get a little bit vocal. You can hear that charger when you're inside the rig. Probably won't hear it so much once we're camping, TV's on, music's playing, things like that, but just something to keep in mind. All right, so what I've got here is kind of an overview. Over the kitchen area, I had two separate cabinets before, and I'm thinking these things look 100% better than the two cabinets I had in there before. We built the one on the end that you could see at the very end there, and after seeing that and how it looked, we wanted to mimic the look over here above the kitchen, and then of course above the headboard up there, and they all kind of tie in together, and we just love them. Now we've still got to do cabinet doors on both that one and that one down there. That's going to come, probably just going to use like a shaker style door setup. For the time being, I just needed to be able to hang them on the wall and get everything mocked up. Now this little cubbies up here, those are not going to be covered with doors. At best, we might be looking at some sort of bungee cord setup to hold stuff up there. But yeah, that's the cabinets. So proud of these things, guys. I've never built a cabinet before in my life, and I got to tell you, I couldn't be happier with these. Okay, so kind of another view of the front cabinet up there. Walking in, and you're going to have to forgive me because this place is a construction zone right now, so I've got tools and just mess everywhere. Sorry, but it is what it is. Once again, the cabinet here, once that thing was built, we loved the way it looked so much that we had to go ahead and duplicate that in terms of going overhead in the kitchen. The cabinets we had initially were a little bit, well, actually quite a bit deeper, and they just came out a little bit too far. It didn't seem to flow right. And frankly, we're going to have our TV on the very end down there, and we needed to be able to tilt it towards us to where we could see it kind of from where I'm standing here. Now, something else to be said is the last time we shot, this back wall was not in place. We have gone ahead and basically just patched in that wall. I think that's a quarter, no, I'm sorry, not a quarter, but a 1/2 inch plywood. Now I did go ahead and leave an access panel open right there at the top, so where the wires are accessible from the inside. We'll have a little patch over that later, but we felt it was pretty important to be able to access that stuff just in case the worst did happen and we lose power to one of the outside scene lights or just whatever else is wired up in there, which includes, of course, the clearance lights as well. Another close-up of the headboard, kind of the ceiling headboard, and then, of course, the little shelf that's right above these. Again, super proud of them. What we've opted to do is go ahead and clear coat the inside of them, and then we're going to go ahead and paint the exterior surfaces. Once again, pretty proud of those things. They're turning out looking pretty good. Just a quick mention, the last video we did show you these dinette benches here, and we had basically just gotten started with them, and on the inside they were just rough framed out 2x4, and all the 2x4s were painted. They didn't look anywhere near as cool as they're looking right now. Let me lift this lid up here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All I did was line that with some 1/4 inch plywood, but I think you'll agree when I say that looks a ton better than just the raw 2x4s and steel floor that was in there before. This rat's nest of wire here is actually quite a bit better looking than what it was a few weeks ago. I've got a lot of stubbed out wire coming up there because frankly, if I lose that, it's going down behind that and I'm going to have a hard time getting to it. Those are circuits for the lights that are above the running boards on the outside of the van, a couple of pin switches and some other things as well. These little lights here are not lights, but the wiring. This is a 4-way switch here, for instance, which goes to a couple different things. We've got scene lights on the left side of the ambo, the rear, the right side, and then this switch here is open. And what that's probably going to end up being is for a bug light that'll be on the side or on the passenger side of the van, just where when we're at the campsite, we certainly don't want to have bright white lights on because that's going to do nothing but attract the bugs, and we don't want that. Now I've got 2 switches set up over here. I've got one switch set up for the 2 lights that are above the dinette right here. And then I've got another switch, this, which controls essentially the rest of the lights going down the ceiling from here back. Basically what I was thinking there is if somebody's trying to sleep in the back, I could sneak up here, somebody could sneak up here to the dinette area, have a seat and fiddle around on their phone, read or whatever, and only have the 2 lights up here shining at that point. And they are on a dimmer, so they can be dimmed down as well for minimum obstruction. So the part that has taken me the longest is the bathroom. Like I said, there was no instructions for this. I just knew what I needed out of it and the parts that I had, so we just kind of had to work around that accordingly. We'll show you. I don't have the drain hole drilled yet because this is all just freshly done this last weekend. But the shower pan sits nestled in between this wooden framework quite well. We're real happy with the way that came out. We've got walls on the left, the right, and the rear, as you can see. The little podium that the stool sits on, which once again, it's not ideal to have to step up on it to use it, but again, it's what we have to deal with if we want everything checked off on the list of our desires here that we wanted, including the stool, the shower, and of course just basically a restroom and a vehicle this size anyway. So what you can't see here is that little hatch right there, not a hatch, but that little panel does come loose. So you can see what's under there, and that's going to be where the water pipes come in, drill down through the floor, go underneath of the shower pan, and then come up in front of it, of course, for the shower head, which is going to be somewhere in this neighborhood over here. Now, we're not done with it yet. I've still got a lot to do, including tile and one more layer of 1/4-inch thick plywood to where it'll kind of overhang the lip of the shower pan a little bit more. Before I go any further, we've bought something called Aqua Defense, which is basically a rubberized membrane that's going to cover all of this. Then we're going to put the cover or the 1/4-inch ply up and then cover that as well. The idea is if water happens to get through any of the tile, which it shouldn't, but if it does, that will be there to protect it from mildew, rot, all the nasty stuff we don't want. Now, the last thing I'll show you here, and we're going to wrap things up, but the last thing I'll show you here is a little side camera that goes on each side. There's one on the right, one on the left. And then, of course, there's the camera that's above the rear cargo doors up there that allows you to see what's out back. But I wanted to show you kind of what this looks like once I plug it in. Okay, so my rear view mirror has turned into a screen, a very loud screen. And the recording is on. And the way that this one's set up, and I don't know how easily you're going to be able to see this, but over here what we've got is the left side view mirror, the right side view, and then of course the backup view. And you could split these views up. You can do all four. You can do right and left. You can just do simply the backup, and it's all programmable. But when you're driving a rig that's this big, the mirrors on it work pretty good, but the one over here on the passenger side gets a little bit sketchy when you go to do a lane change. It's real easy for that thing to vibrate, and you just can't see very well. This is going to be a game changer, guys. Well, hey, listen, I just wanted to say thank you for checking out the video. Again, we really appreciate your support. Well, more than anything, I just wanted to keep you kind of up to date on where we are right now. There's going to be a lot more all-inclusive walkthrough video coming eventually, probably a lot more towards the ambulance's completion, or excuse me, the recreational vehicles completion. I'm looking forward to showing that to you, but again, I just wanted to kind of dock where I'm at right now with this thing so you guys can see it. Maybe give you a little inspiration for your build as well. That's all I got tonight, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Happy adventures, and we really hope we see you next time. Have a good night, y'all.